Hey, it's Coach Edwards here with lacrossegoalietips.com and lacrossegoalieuniversity.com, and a big shout out this week to new subscribers in Ridgefield, Connecticut, Troy, New York, Buffalo, New York, and Great Falls, Montana. Love to hear it. As always, it's been a big couple weeks. It's a busy time of year with LaxCon and those things coming around. Get a lot of requests this time of year, a lot of new members in Lacrosse Goalie University. And a question I got this week from a goalie in Virginia was that basically, it was a long email, but basically the gist was the goalie feels like they're wasting their time in practice and not really working on the things that they need to work on. So my Lacrosse Goalie University members know that I'm a big proponent of being productive in practice and understanding what it is you're trying to work on. Now, as a new goalie, sometimes you're working on everything, right? There's a lot of parents and coaches who write me get really if they're interested in coaching their goalie, they're too granular doing it. They're worried about all sorts of stuff, or they're not incorporating them at all. It's just like the goalie is like a total afterthought. But one of the best bits of advice that I can give you is you need to understand kind of what you lack come game day, and therefore what you need to work on in practice. Now, sometimes these can be diametrically opposed. What I mean by that is that for a goalie in a new program or a young program or not very good program, goalie's going to see a lot of shots come game day that they can't necessarily replicate in practice. And I remember this growing up when I played in high school. Our team wasn't really good offensively until I was like a junior senior. But in those early years, our defense was pretty good, comparatively against our offense. But when we played other teams with really good offenses, all of a sudden the shots that I saw on game day were completely different. What I mean by that is like let's say in practice we're getting shots from outside 10 yards, but come game day the guys were dodging past our D and I was getting one-on-ones. Well, we didn't necessarily practice one-on-ones in practice, and therefore come game day it all felt kind of new. So what you need to know, and what I've done this month for our Lacrosse Goalie University members is done a very detailed video on kind of how to break down what you need to do on game day versus what you need to do in practice, or what your needs are for game day versus what you need to work on in practice. But for all the coaches, parents, and goalies out there, we can only make our teams better by position. And what I mean by that is, like, if your face-off midi is horrible and you lose every face-off, then you're going to be playing a lot of defense, right? And you might not be, and you're going to have to work a lot on transition to get the ball from the defense up to the offensive part of the field. If you're not working on that, then, and you're spending all your time on like offense and man up, well, there's a huge component to the game which isn't getting enough work, and therefore your team's not getting enough work, and then going into practice, you're hooped. From a goalie specific standpoint, if our goalie is seeing one-on-one shots on game day and we're not focusing on one-on-one shots in practice, well, that's a problem for our goalie. If all of our shots, if we're going to play a team this week and all of the shots are going to be from outside, because they've got like middies who've got cannons, they like to shoot from outside, and we don't work on that in practice, that's a problem. Okay, so as a goalie, I encourage all my goalies, parents, and coaches to have it's a unique bond, and as long as the parent is not like that parent, as long as you're working, going like, listen, this is what our goalie needs to get, in order to prove, and the coach understands that, and the goalie understands the limitations that the coach may have for practicing that, you can make progress. I hate when I hear goalies who like this goalie, for instance, who was like, just felt like what they're working on practice wasn't at all what he needed, and that is not an uncommon. It's not an uncommon situation. So what I'd like to see this goalie do, and for all my goalies, parents, and coaches out there, is to understand what's the difference between what we're working on game, what we're seeing on game day versus what we need in practice, and how can we incorporate that into practice so that it's not just the goalie getting the work, but the team as a whole is getting the work. And I go through that this month in Lacrosse Goalie University for our members. So if you want to check that out, check the link below, and you'll want to join. For my members, you'll want to check out more of kind of how I go into detail on how we break that down. Okay, so as always, thanks for the question. If you got a question for me, email me, coachedwards@lacrossegoalietips.com and lacrossegoalieuniversity.com. If you like this post, do me a favor, Facebook, tweet it, share it, Google Plus it. I'd appreciate it. And by all means, leave me a comment below, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.